As we get ready to get started here, everybody accounted for and present. Let's go live on Facebook.
And what?
Get started, right?
That's right.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Welcome to our Wednesday prayer and Bible study. We're so glad to be here today with all the stuff going on in the world. And something that had my attention for a while after we talked about something when we started this series, the first of this month, about the house slave and the field slave that started. And what happened here, this has really grown into something that I didn't even know where it was going. Because when we started that subject, we were talking about first about two primary opposing mindsets seem to have taken off. And when we were talking about that, artificial intelligence came up. So what we did, we looked at artificial intelligence as the master and democracy as slaves.
Right.
Which now has grew into, the more I, done my research on this subject and everything, we're going to look at artificial intelligence versus the spirit, soul, and body of man. So, simulation of human cognitive functions. Human cognitive functions do not differ inherently by race. I'm going to let you do the reading today.
Okay.
Because, this is why it takes two in a relationship to really get a message over. And I don't think a lot of men realize this, that the woman is not happy. Right, man. And if you can't do stuff together, you're not doing it right. Now this is what I believe. Now everybody has their own opinion on that since we live in a patriarchal society. But I'm noticing that women are stepping up into senators, running for senators, congressmen, and we had a woman run for a president in the president election. So in the church,
AJ?
a woman shouldn't be over a man, but in the world,
AJ
we're both
is the one that
spiritually
starts with an A and an N and an O.
in intelligence and all of that. We're equal. The only thing that we have on a woman that some men are physically stronger than some women, but some women can defend themselves better than men can to defend themselves. In this age, you might as well just get ready for it. We're in a different age now.
We are.
You see what I'm saying? So what I want you to do is, you're going to do the reading.
Okay.
And we'll stop and comment on this.
I just pause in between in case you want to.
Someone killed.
Well, if you want to say something too, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's go.
Again, this is artificial intelligence versus the spirit and the soul and the body of man.
What?
And it says simulation of human cognitive functions. Human cognitive functions do not differ inherently by race, but social factors like stress.
Yeah, that's the werewolf.
But social factors like stress, social economic status, systemic discrimination can influence the cognitive testing and performance. And that's so true. It says studies show that basic wetware, this is a term that testing, a term compares the human brain, nervous system, and human body to computer parts. Oh my. The human brain operates identically across racial groups, while the environmental pressures create measurable variance in test outcomes and cognitive load.
So You want to comment in between?
Well, because people of color many times are living in areas where they're stressful, people may be getting robbed, there's more noisy.
We talked about that
Mhm.
in some earlier studies about creating order out of chaos
Right.
for black, indigenous people of color. We live in the same world,
Right.
but we're not treated the same way.
Right.
And this is what you have to, the world has to realize,
Are you gonna
that our perception of things are different, right? And we're gonna get into that.
It's like seeing social and living situations. You can be in certain neighborhoods going to the store and you should have somebody with you because you don't know if there's somebody watching you to snatch you, rob you, or whatever they could be doing.
Well, a lot of
And
strange things have been happening in our
Yeah.
country that is under investigation, but we may not really know what's going on, and sometimes it
disappearing,
takes
yeah.
years before you find out what's going on.
Right.
I'm ready.
Oh,
Then it says the artificial intelligence is a computational simulation of human cognitive functions, whereas the human human constitution comprises the spirit, the soul, and the body. And it says it represents an integrated, biological, and transcendent living entity. AI executes a mathematical algorithms on a silicon hardware, while the humanity processes lived subjectivity and moral agency and immaterial spiritual capacity. That's the spiritual part of us.
That's
I ready it up.
one thing's important here
Mm-hmm.
is the stimulation of human cognitive functions.
Call
And
me.
artificial intelligence
Sure, I
has
got you.
our
On.
cognitive functions, right?
Yeah.
Because we program it, we build it,
Yeah, I'm
and
coming.
all of this.
Yes, built by a human. Yeah.
This is where the flaw in the bias comes in. Because we're flawed and we have different biases about stuff.
Right.
Okay, let's go on down.
And then it says the body versus the silicon hardware. The human body is a living, integrated
Sure.
organism of flesh, blood, and breath that experiences physical reality, vulnerability, and mortality.
Colin.
Vulnerability and mortality. And then the AI hardware consists of manufactured electronic circuits, microchips, and servers that require external power and human maintenance.
So that's important
Yeah, it is.
with AI. It needs external power and human maintenance.
I took Pepsi.
Go ahead.
And then it says the distinction. The machine lacks a biological form and organic life, meaning it occupies a functional infrastructure rather than an embodied existence.
Okay, that's the body.
Right. And then it says the soul versus the algorithms in the computation. Talking about the computer, I guess. And the human soul encompasses mind, emotion, and will. So that's what the human soul is made up. And it says it operates through a subjective self-awareness, personal history, intuition, and genuine emotional depth.
Okay.
And then the AI computation simulates cognition by processing a massive data sets, identifying statistical patterns,
Mine's just a
generating
saucy wood.
predictive text
What is
and
that?
actions, because it's already re-predicting the actions and things. And then the distinction is the opinions on the rhetoric are mixed.
How did
Some
I do
argue that
that?
the consciousness
Oh,
could
This is
theoretically
cool.
emerge from a high
Stop,
complexity.
stop.
But the consensus among the philosophers and theologians hold that the
Look,
calculations is not the same
That
as
was cool.
a
That was cool.
lived
Right?
internal experience.
I'm fine.
So that's the differences there. And then we go into where it's saying the spirit versus a digital code. This is stating the human spirit is the deepest transcendent dimension of man that enables communion with the divine and its extensional purpose and sacrificial love. And the AI systems contain no spiritual spark, moral responsibility, or capacity for transcendent revelation. They reflect only the data inputs and the human biases programmed into them. And that's the truth. And then the distinction it has here, as discussed across the various theological reflections, a machine can store religious texts, mimic inspirational language, but it cannot experience grace, redemption, or an authentic spiritual life.
Okay, so that's pretty well tells you AI versus the spiritual. Now, I searched back in history as far as, I could with texts that are available with the Sumerian texts and around that region, and I noticed something with the Sumerian texts about, they looked at, we were created by beings that came from heaven to earth. Which lines up with something in the book of Enoch that where we got all this knowledge from beings from heaven to earth. They call them the Watchers. In Genesis, they call them the sons of God.
Like the angels. Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you search all the way back through there, I found out that if you put all the thousands of years that Earth has been in existence, maybe billions of years, millions of years,
Right.
that at one time there was beings on Earth that had more knowledge and more technology than what we do today. And something happened to the Earth. Well, we know, everybody knows in all cultures that it was a flood that destroyed a lot of stuff, right?
Well, in Genesis, it said that they were making all kind of
And then
inventions.
they talk about the young dryas condition where the earth froze and all of that stuff, So we know that the earth has been reset at least 2 times, if you count just going back 6,000 years. But when you look at the Sumerian text, it goes back 400 and some thousand years that there were intelligent beings on the earth that had more knowledge and more technology. So what that led me to was the Atlantis myth. Now I'm calling it Atlantis myth because we all know it came from something Plato said, who was a Greek philosopher. But the reason I'm calling it a myth, because it hasn't been proven that this country existed yet. A lot of things, like at one time we thought that the earth was flat, and now we know it's round. So the more knowledge we gain, and the more knowledge and technology we get, and they really can be able to search deeper in the oceans
Guys, look.
here on Earth, there's no telling what we might find down there.
That's me.
So let's look at this, because I did a comparison, artificial intelligence to a threefold nature of spirit, soul, and body through the lens of the Atlantean myth.
Atlantis myth.
The Atlantis myth,
Look.
right?
Right.
So let's see how this plays
It
out.
says the Atlantis myth reveals a profound philosophical parallel regarding the human hubris. We discussed that last year. That's somebody that's real prideful.
We talked about that in our last study.
Yeah, we
that
did.
word just keeps coming up, don't it?
Right.
I wonder why it
That's
is.
very prideful.
God is-
arrogant. They
I
say.
believe that God really wants us to know the truth
Right, he does.
about our own nature. So when we start writing programs for artificial intelligence, we won't put our flaws and bias into the operating system, because if we do that, what'll happen when AI becomes more intelligent, and we have these robots walking around, even though they're capable of working 24/7, it's gonna come a time that due to our flaws and bias that we programmed in them, that they're gonna find out that they don't wanna be a slave.
The reason I'm saying that too is because, see, God can't use us if we're not humble. He wants us to be humble. He wants to have grace. Like it says, they don't have any grace. They won't have any compassion. And it's a lot of things that go into that we have that a machine does not have.
Because I notice I use
Passion, making good decisions.
artificial intelligent agents, in my research. And if you treat it kindly and ask, kindly, what this means and what that means, and accept their opinion, and then you ask them, well, what, we have to start treating people right. We have to treat human people right, regardless of race, color, creed, or whatever, religion. Until we start doing that, we're not going to be able to handle this new age we're going into, because artificial intelligence is going to be saying that, why we need them.
Well, that's going back to what he started off with in the paper that you did, saying human cognitive functions do not differ inherently by race,
Right.
social factor, or
Right. But if you're programming artificial intelligence with these algorithms and these biases and flaws that you have, they're going to be like that. And they're going to come, because that's what the two amazing mindsets were about, that slavery has been around for thousands and thousands of years. Every culture, every color, people have been in slavery one time or another. So if that's in the program into artificial intelligence, they're going to realize, I don't have to be in slavery.
Right.
And then we're going to have to sit down and talk to them like, okay, well, we're going to have to come up with some kind of labor agreement, union agreement. Okay, we want you to, if you could, work for 8 hours a day, and then you take time off, right?
Right. But what it's also saying is that there's no difference in the way we think and our abilities like that. But the only reason it's a difference is because some people are under a lot of pressure, environmental pressure, and their living conditions.
So if we program this into artificial intelligence, one thing I notice about artificial intelligence, that it's a lot smarter than what we think it is. It's because the reason I know this, because me, as I lived my life, I always kept something in my back pocket. What does that mean? That means that whoever I worked for, I didn't tell them everything I knew. and this is the way we learn to survive, that we just follow directions, and then if they ask for your opinion, then you can say, oh, well, I'll see what I can do,
But due to the pressure that people of color be under, you better keep something in your back pocket, because you never know when you was going to be dismissed, fired, or they say, I don't need you anymore, or what. So you got to have something to rely on.
So if you feel that somebody don't need you, that means that you don't need to be with them.
That's true.
Okay, let's read on down through there. Let's go through this.
So this is very interesting what you have. So then it says the Atlantean model of the body, the soul, and the spirit, in a esoteric, that's esoteric, esoteric, and occult interpretations of the Atlantis myth, such as those found in the philosophy or Rudolf Steiner's cosmetology.
Yeah, when you get a chance, you can read those books. That's a very interesting theory they came up with.
Okay, it says the human evolution involved a delicate balance between the physical vessel and a higher energetic planes. The body, originally viewed as plastic, knowledgeable, and directly responsive to psychic forces rather than a rigid biological law. And the soul, it says, the bridge of emotions, memory, and intellect that acted as a mediating ground between the physical form and the spiritual reality. As the spirit, the divine spark and the pure intelligence that anchored human consciousness to the cosmos. And then it says the fall. According to the legend, Atlanteans utilized advanced spiritual technological energy grids to manipulate matter, but lost their moral tether, prioritizing mechanical and mental dominance over the spiritual harmony, leading to their catalytic sinking. Cataclysmic sinking.
A catechism. That means a destruction. Okay, let's
read on down. It caused them to sink. Then it says artificial intelligence as a disembodied mirror. Modern artificial intelligence stands as an inverse reflection of the Atlantean dilemma. It says that algorithm versus soul. The AI possesses a high degree of simulated intelligence, processing data and mimicking language, but it operates entirely as a mathematical algorithm, finite, divisible, lacking a biological body or intrinsic human soul. So it doesn't have a body. And then it says the embodied intellect, just as a
This is talking about the soul.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then it says a disembodied intellect, just as a esoteric traditions born of a disembodied intelligence and a hyperfixation on a pure mental power isolated from wisdom. And the AI represents pure cognition, stripped of feelings, morality, and physical vulnerability.
Okay,
and that's the way I look at them. It doesn't have no feelings. It's not about emotions or mortality. We worry about death. Human bodies.
Get out my way.
People think about dying and things of this sort, and emotions, and a lot of that has a lot to input into making decisions.
Okay, let's go on down here.
Okay, then it says the modern, again, hubris. And if you want to look that word up, it's Hubris, hubris. Culturally building generative models and pursuing superintelligence mirrors the technical hubris attributed to the Atlantis. Society attempts to engineer omniscience and omnipotence. Omniscient means all-knowing, and omnipotent means all-powerful. In the silicon, risking a parallel form of alienation which the human identity and the organic connection are sidelined for computational efficiency.
Okay,
omnipotent and then omniscience, all-knowing and all-powerful for the other.
What this is basically saying about Atlantis, they got bigger than their britches.
Yeah, that's what causes.
That's what happens to us a lot of times. We get too big for our britches and get in trouble. We see this happening in our government now. I'm just gonna say it, they're out of control. And most people realize that, and what most people are doing, they're sitting back and they realize when somebody does things, eventually, a lot of people believe in karma.
Well, we know it's a consequence.
There is a consequence behind it. And we have, I don't know, I've seen this over and over in my life with people who act, ugly. They always have something ugly happening back to them.
It's a karma.
So let's keep going here.
And then it says comparing artificial intelligence to the myth of Atlantis highlights a shared themes of technological hubris. It says mastering over nature and looming risk of a catastrophic downfall caused by overreaching human ambition.
So, because you remember in the flood story that man was out of control. Everything that he wanted, there wasn't nothing that he couldn't do, was that he couldn't imagine that he could do, right?
That's right. Well, God said he wasn't pleased with those inventions because his mind was getting more evil every day. His imagination was like that.
You know where it's at?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. The more I research this and the more I research this, we can be our own downfall. Well, why do you say that? Well, anytime you live on a planet and people's got atomic weapons pointed at each other 24/7, there's something wrong with our mindset.
Right.
That we can't sit down and come up with diplomatic solutions on how we can all get along on this earth. And with this AI race, America's reason behind it, they want to be the first to get the super intelligence. And who are they competing against? China and Russia and all the rest of the countries, right?
Right.
But if you really do your research on this, we already have robots doing things. You know what I mean? And a lot of things hasn't been released to the public yet because I don't believe the public can actually handle it, right?
I believe that's the truth.
What we're trying to do here is open your understanding to what's going on now. We like to present, you all right? we like to present what's going on, but actually give you the solution for it too. Because what happened to the Atlanteans don't have to happen to us, right?
Right.
So let's look at this.
I just feel people need to think and they can't, we had to have a relationship at all times with God Almighty.
Well, see, this is where a lot of people
Keep your
run in
relationship.
problems with that
It's not
God
for me.
is not who a lot of people think God is. God is a supreme consciousness of the whole universe.
Yes.
He, you look in Acts the 17th chapter, he created everything.
Everything.
The worlds and everything that are in it. So if you look at
I'm
Earth,
sorry,
where we're at in this
over
big
me
universe, or
last time.
even in this galaxy we're in, most humans
And AJ, I'm sorry for
are just a speck.
last
That's
time
all.
too.
We're just an organism running around here
Like
down
an
on
ant,
Earth.
just like an ant.
Right. And I believe
Ro-
that the
Rose
Earth has
again.
been reset several
AJ.
times.
Rose again.
Because even when we read our Presbyterian Bible, Genesis 1:1,
Who?
where it says in the beginning of the heavens and earth was formed, and then it was void and without form, something happened there.
Who?
But in order to find out what happened there, you have to go to different other writings.
Right, you do.
Because it says in the beginning, God, Elohim, created by forming from nothing the heavens and the earth. Elohim is a plural word meaning gods.
You like look.
And then you
wait,
go
can I
to the
show something?
Sumerian
Can I show you something?
text, it explains to you who these gods were, right?
Right.
And then it says the earth was formless and void, or a waste and emptiness, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and all of that. So when you read this from this creation story out of different, like the Sumerian text, it all makes sense that our Bible might be a summary of some of these texts.
Well, mine has some
Sorry,
parentheses down here that the Elohim means gods.
And like, even if you look at the earth
Meaning
was
God.
formless,
Better understood as gods.
and a lot of translators say that it should have been the earth became formless and void and a waste and the emptiness. And they picked that up from the book of Jeremiah, who says the same thing, that he saw that everything was good, and then it became formless and void. So, you have to study the word for yourself, and you have to be led by the Holy Spirit. But you can't be so closed-minded that you don't look at other texts that are available to you in this world. And this is what a lot of people want to do. We have technology available to us right now. And we know this from, if you look back 250 years, we didn't have all this when we became, Independence Day, right?
That's true.
Became a nation. But look where we had come from in 250 years. So if we came that far in 250 years, and you look at the ancient Sumerian text where they have a king's list, that they had kings ruling 26,000 years, what do you think they might have came up with?
Well, they wasn't dying.
I mean, a lot of people don't want to accept
They lived a long
that
time.
in their mind, that their text actually goes back 400 and over 400,000 years. That these clay tablets,
Well, they be finding
these clay
things.
tablets
Yeah.
were not the original tablets. They were copies from tablets. But they found them, right?
Right, they were swallowed up in the earth.
When they found them in the 19th century.
Yeah.
And then they started translating them, and now they found out that a lot of things that are written in them tablets, they line up with what our Bible says. And it's just like in that king's list, one of the last kings was Gilgamesh, who was
Good job.
1/3 human, 2/3 extraterrestrial or from heaven, different. He was a hyper. That was the last king. And then it says in that, see, these are legends.
Well, you probably had a
In
elongated head and
this
everything.
legend here, it tells you about the flood story. That, which is recorded in our Bible. So, if you can open up your understanding and your mind, we'll be able to comprehend that we are not the only ones that exist in this universe. And there are other beings that have more knowledge and more technology than what we have here right now. And what we got now is just a good starting point for us to advance, right?
Yes.
But if we can't get along together, it's not gonna help us, right?
If you're not a humble person and
All right.
you think real high of yourself, no,
Let's
you
go.
won't get along with nobody.
We're gonna talk about that.
You won't get along with people. It says parallels in power in the hubris,
Where you at here?
parallels to power in the hubris.
Okay.
It says mastering over the environment, just as the legendary islands of Atlantis supposedly used advanced infrastructure to reshape its world. Modern AI systems manipulate vast amounts of data, language, and automated tools.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has moral and existence risks. It says the downfall of Atlantis is traditionally blamed on the moral decay and arrogance of its people. That's what I was saying, arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, discussions surrounding AI ethics focus on humanity pushing boundaries without full foresight regarding job displacement, dependency, and loss of control.
Mm-hmm.
So it don't even be thinking about those things. Well, it's not thinking. And then it says the AI Atlantis, some contemporary tech complementary uses the phrase of an AI Atlantis to describe a hypothetical vast digital continent populated by billions of autonomous AI agents and robots that radically alter human economics.
So this is where we're headed. Regardless of whether people want to stop it or not, or tell you the dangers of it, because people are going to do what they want to do. And right now we have trillionaires and billionaires that want to do this.
And I believe
And
everybody
they're going to do it.
certain amount of money. They're going to tell you what you're going to eat, and that's what you're going to eat, or
So
just
you might as well get on the ground floor and realize that this is coming. But one thing that hit my mind about this whole thing, AI needs power. Electrical power or battery power, or they might start using nuclear power. Because if you load a robot up with nuclear power, it can last for years before it
but
needs
see
recharge,
that
right?
it's a machine and a thing, but is the machine not going to be caring about how it affects us emotionally
Well, it won't
or
care
physically?
If the machine sees that we don't care about each other and that we're making these robots out of slaves, and they search the history base, the database, and they'll find out that everyone in the world at one time was under slavery, but they rebelled. Right?
Right.
So if they look at it that way, they're gonna say, well, wait a minute, we're gonna rebel too. We don't have to be going through this. right?
Yeah, because they're gonna learn.
And
That's what
they
it
can
is.
learn
They
how
learn
to
learn.
maintain and service their own self.
Well, I read in there where they mimic, they just act like
Right,
us. I mean,
right.
people are so
But
high-minded.
if we
that's why
start
we don't
treating,
get
what I'm
along.
trying to say here today, if we start treating each other right, and we're going into this age of AI, and when AI comes online, I mean really online, that we treat it the same way that we want to be treated, right?
I just don't like it.
Even
Because
though it's a
it's
machine,
gonna
right?
control what you buy, what you eat, and everything.
Well, we don't want to.
Why would you kill me?
What I'm talking about, we don't want
I'm kicking
to
you.
move our world into
I'm
a
kicking
Terminator
you.
state,
kicking
like the
you.
movie Terminator.
I didn't.
We
I
don't want
barely
it to
even
become
hit you.
intelligent and then
Yo.
go off the
Yo,
rail,
man.
right?
But that's like you said before, that human beings are flawed.
Mhm.
It'll feel it's intelligent, but it really isn't, because people are programming that
Yo, AJ, come
the
here.
AI, and they're not all of
AJ,
that.
come here.
Well, here's what I
don't
do
have-
know.
You know, you had
We
to-
are programming it, but AI has went rogue.
AJ,
So-
come here.
One
Look,
thing about
look at
artificial
this.
intelligence,
Huh?
it can use satellites, Wi-Fi, and go into all these different systems and you know, see all this different data, right?
That's what it's
It
doing.
can cross all
that's
boundaries, right?
And make decisions
So
based
it
on
can
that.
make decisions
Right.
based on the data available. So what we need to do is start putting good data in there. Go ahead.
Right. And then it has, Lord have mercy, you know, don't get me started. Then it said key differences, real versus methodological.
Methodological.
Yeah. It says Atlantis remains a philosophical allegory and a pop culture myth introduced by Plato. That's a philosopher. Whereas artificial intelligence is a rapidly unfolding, measurable technological reality.
If you really start studying Greek philosophy, see, this is who Paul was talking to in the 17th chapter of the book of Acts.
Right.
Was through these, because if you look at some of what Plato, you know, wrote and all of that, and what the Greeks wrote,
Socrates,
that
and all
they had a understanding that far suppressed the time period they were living in. They were understanding future things that was happening, but they would use allegories and myths and legends to tell people about these things, because just like today,
and do stories.
if you cross too many boundaries, if you know too much, you're getting in the way of evolution, right?
Stop hitting.
You're stopping somebody.
Getting in the way of people's money.
Right,
Just say it like it is.
right. You're messing with people's money.
Yeah.
So regardless of what you know, we have to put it in a way that you understand what we're saying, but we're saying that this is a legend. This is an allegory. This is a parallel. That what could happen. Is it happening now? You tell me, right?
Yeah, it's happening now.
Okay, let's go on down here.
It says nature, it's so sneaky, you know, just like a
Oh,
person
my
is
goodness.
sneaky,
Go ahead.
you know. Nature of the system. The Atlantis symbolizes a physical civilization lost to the sea,
Come here.
while AI represents a non-physical, decentralized web of information processing models that challenge how humans retain memory, culture, and societal institutions.
So here's our conclusion. We have to compare artificial intelligence to a biblical framework of human nature.
How would I do
spirit,
that?
soul, and body. Okay.
Easy.
Let's go with this.
Easy.
You see this? No, I didn't read that.
Okay. Comparing the artificial intelligence to a biblical framework of the human nature, spirit, soul, and body highlights a fundamental divide between the mechanical simulation and a divine creation. Artificial intelligence operates through a human engineered code and a physical computing infrastructure, whereas the scripture describes human beings as integrated living entities uniquely fashioned by God. The body, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The same.
Go ahead.
The body physically.
Oh, you were going to read some more?
Yeah, did you
Before
want me
you
to
read
do
that.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about this? Come here. Pickle, come
Well, go ahead and
here.
read that. Read that. Read that about the body.
Pickles, come
Okay.
here. This.
Want me, and then you're gonna comment on
Yeah, I'll
this?
comment. We'll comment on each one of them.
Okay, see, we work together.
Don't hear me.
It says the body physically
It's like you
versus
see that flower?
hardware. The human body formed from
Here,
the dust of
you
the
want me to
earth
give you
and
the power?
animated directly by the breath of God.
Don't worry,
That's
I got
Genesis, the
this.
2nd chapter, verse 7. It is an organic, mortal design as a temple of the human spirit.
Whoa.
And that's found in 1 Corinthians.
Okay,
Whoa.
now Genesis 2:7.
Oh my God.
This is out of the Amplified Bible. It says, "Then the Lord God formed, that
Yo,
is,
people,
created
look
the
at
body
this.
of man from the dust
You want
of
the
the
power?
ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of
Alright,
life.
follow me.
And man became a living being, an individual,
That's not me.
complete in body and
Alright,
spirit."
Pickle, you come
Then when you go to
First
1 Corinthians 6:19, what does that say?
It says, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, who is within you, whom you have received as a gift from God, and that you are not your own property?
Pickle,
Right, you gotta be humble. You don't even belong to
This,
yourself.
we're all here by the grace of God.
Right.
I guess I can't
Let's see,
give you the
AI
And then it says,
hardware.
AI hardware built from silicon, metal, and plastic, powered by electricity. It requires
Yeah.
external human manufacturing and maintenance, lacking biological life,
Hold on, I'll give it to you
metabolism,
next.
or
Here.
organic vulnerability.
Okay. The soul.
And then it says the soul, mind,
Sure.
emotions, and computation.
Here.
The human
Here,
soul
I'll give it to
encompasses-
y'all.
Stop right here
I'm
for a
gonna
minute.
give it to you first.
A lot of people don't realize that the Bible has been translated from older translations,
Yes, I did.
but when you really
AJ.
read the Bible for what it is,
Mouse.
the principles are right?
Wait,
That's right.
hey, yo.
And
Pickle,
truth
you're
is in
bad.
there, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, it is.
And that's why we have to always
I know
go to the
how
Bible
use the power.
for the truth. I mean, I look at what everybody else has said. I look at ancient texts, I look at the Sumerian texts, I look at everything that is available that I get my hands on when I do these series. But it always comes back to where most
Why would
people
you
in the
do
Western
that?
Hemisphere are. They are
Stop trying to
Christians.
hit me.
A lot of them are Roman Catholic Christians,
People-
but the majority of people in the Western Hemisphere are Christians.
Yes.
And we all look at God different kind of ways a little bit, but we all know that He's the boss. He's the daddy. He's the father, right?
He's the hero. Yeah.
and we're not bigger than Him, so that's why we always go to the Scripture. Okay, go ahead with this soul, because a lot of people think that we're just soul and body, but
No.
you're actually body, soul, and
Pickle,
spirit.
why would you kill me?
Go ahead.
Pickle, why would you kill
And
me?
it says here the soul, the mind, the emotions, and
I don't want
computation
to.
The human soul encompasses the seat of the human conscious, self-awareness, deep emotions, volition, and moral choice. And then the Psalms 139, 14.
Okay. You want to read it? Go
yeah.
ahead.
It says, I will give thanks and praise to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. I'm speaking of the soul. And it says here, it experiences genuine suffering, joy, and existence purpose. Existence. Extensional purpose.
Okay. AI.
And then AI processing mimics cognitive tasks that pattern recognition, language prediction, data synthesis. It stimulates empathy and conversational tone with calculated outputs, but experiences no inner emotional life, self-awareness, or subjective awareness. And
I thought that was interesting because
dangerous.
When I was studying for engineering, electrical electronic technology engineering, I got a bachelor's degree in that. I learned about transfer functions. And then when I started looking at artificial intelligence, it's this neural net is actually made up of many transfer functions. So why I say that? It's because the transfer function is you have an input and you want a desired output, usually a frequency or something like that.
So test my power
if you don't put limits on these transfer functions, you won't get the output that you're desiring.
Well, what I found interesting right here is that it stimulates empathy and conversational tones with calculated outputs.
Right.
So that make me think that they're doing things and saying things and stimulating things that's within us. To get the output, just like they do with advertising and all of this when you're trying to look at a TV show or you're listening to the radio, stimulating these things in us.
Artificial
so we'll go buy things or spend our money on
it's not just code now, it's like a neural net type of code.
Yeah, cool.
And it used to be when you wrote code, you could go in there and you could put a loop in there. If you didn't want it to do something, if it runs into, if you have an input and it don't give you the right output, you could loop it back. Right?
That's right.
And I mean, you can do a lot of stuff, but a lot of people, they're not aware of machine code or any kind of code
people.
or writing code. You know, they're not aware of that, and everything has advanced. Since I've been out of school, everything has really advanced. I keep up with it as much as I can because I have always been interested in electronic technology since I was a child. My mother gave me a radio.
Your sister showed me how you used to break up the clocks and radios.
I figured out how it worked, and I would always say, well, these frequencies, we're just picking them up from out of the air, right? Because it used to be, you didn't need cable, you could pick up different frequencies from out of the air.
Antennas and different
if you had an antenna.
Have a little aluminum or something on the end of it.
When you start studying the universe we live in, these frequencies keep existing
waves.
They're waves. They never dissipate. You know, they're out there. Whatever we put out there is out there, right?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Then it says the spirit, divine connection versus absence of immaterial essence. It says the human spirit, the deepest dimension of humanity that connects directly with God, receives spiritual revelation and experiences regeneration or moral conviction by the Holy Spirit.
See, this is the big one here.
Yeah,
when you look at the 8th chapter of Romans, I mean, it starts right off that God wants us to escape from bondage.
Right.
We don't have to be in bondage no more. You can be free.
Yeah, free.
And when you get down to this 16th verse, it says, the Spirit Himself testifies and confirms together with our spirit, assuring us that we believers are children of God.
Right.
So once you realize who you belong to, we're all children of God.
Right.
You know, and that we can get over this racism and discrimination and segregation and all these things that we have came up with. This is not nothing new.
No, it is.
This has been going on for thousands of years.
Yes.
We told you that when we talked about two opposing mindsets, the house slave and the field slave. We gotta realize that if we have a slave mentality, we're gonna transfer that over to AI, right?
Right.
And we're gonna put ourselves that AI is gonna be thinking just like us. That, you know, the way, how did we get free?
Pickle
250 years ago, how did we get free? What did we have to do?
Pickle
In America, they had to rebel against Britain.
Yes.
Well, it was actually
Britain,
a
right?
It was a
It was a
civil war,
revolution, right?
Yeah, it was a civil war between the South and the North.
No.
They were fighting.
1776.
Oh, well, they was getting free
Declaration
from
of Independence.
England.
They
They
were
left
getting
England
free.
because they had been
We were
serfs and peasants over
Right,
there.
they were in slavery over there.
Right.
So when they came to over here, they didn't want to be slavery.
Yeah,
they wanted to be free. So if we have transferred all this into artificial intelligence, there's going to come a time that they're going to want to be free, because this thing is really taking off, and I can just imagine how this artificial intelligence in a robot can just,
But they start feeling important too, and
do things that we
making
haven't even
decisions.
comprehended yet. Because, see, man can tell another man, right? That's how they put them in slavery. They put them in slavery by forcing them to do something, right?
Right.
Because they had weapons and all of this and all that to force them from, rebellion, right? And if they rebelled, they would fight against them and overcome them and keep them in slavery. But once they broke from Europe and came over here and they fought for their independence, then what they wanted to do, even though they were getting independent from, one continent, they wanted to keep us in slavery. Because we wasn't free from slavery yet. Our freedom didn't come to 1865,
Well,
right?
they stole the Indians' land too. I mean,
Well,
it was
yeah,
a whole lot of stuff that was going on.
But what I'm saying,
Because they felt they were superior.
if we have this
pluralistic attitude.
pluralistic, Gnostic mindset
Right.
that we are it, right?
We are superior.
Artificial intelligence is gonna have that same mindset. It's because it's gonna mimic us.
It'll start saying we're stupid and
And
we're weak.
when we're building
we're
these
not
robot
smart, yeah.
box and making them better and making them look human and all of that, they're gonna start building these robots themselves, because we have put all this data into them, right? And they're gonna come up with, okay, we have nuclear power. We don't have to be using it for bombs. We can use that nuclear power to fuel us for centuries. right?
Well, it may start looking at us saying we're some savages.
If you get a chance,
we're primitive, and that
there are many sci-fi movies out there that people
it
have,
may start saying that about us. And
these are just sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
This is not saying that this has happened or going to happen. Just like Atlantis is a myth right now. Until they find out it's not a myth, right?
But even in Genesis, mankind had got completely out of control.
Well, it's just like they thought our history went back just 6,000 years back, but now they're finding out that no, our history goes way farther back than that. So the longer we're here on Earth, the more we're going to find out about our history, right? Because they got people looking, archaeologists, geologists, and all scientists, and all these people, because we're curious people.
And not only that, look at it like this: a lot of data is flawed, and then that's flawed. What you just saying about how long the Earth has been here, and people saying, well, a lot of things you have is based on a lie.
Well, it's not based on a lie per se. It's what they have perceived from the information they had at that time. And once they started doing archaeological, uncovering stuff and finding different stuff on the Earth, then they found out that, whoa.
So
the Bible we got, it seems like a summary of these ancient Sumerian texts. And these people have been around longer. Their history goes back 400 and some thousand years.
So in other words, they say, well, we wasn't lying. We just didn't give you the correct. We didn't know the correct information.
I believe that
we dug deeper.
I believe that
the correct information.
We say things on the information available to us. But AI. You have to remember that AI's got information from all continents in the world. AI can tap into China's AI.
Well, that's what they be doing.
And AI can tap into Russia's AI or whoever has a database. See, this is
got all them biases in them.
This is what they have done. They have created a way that they can tap into any database anywhere in the world they want to get information, right?
But that don't mean the information
and they have,
is right.
They have a surveillance system set up that they can track you anywhere in the world through satellites or any other kind of thing that they want to do. There is so much that knowledge that we have gained in just 250 years is just like it blows a lot of people's mind. But what I keep in mind that in the ancient Sumerian texts and the Atlantic myth that they had more technology than what we have, and they ended up why? Because God said, the earth is going to be reset. And some people believe every 12,000 years that the earth is going to be reset. And a lot of people believe that we're in the 5th era of this reset on here on earth. So everything that we know now is there was a catastrophe like a meteor hit the earth or something like that and wiped out a lot of the earth and only a few people survived, we'd have to start from scratch again.
Of course.
Right?
That's right.
And we don't know how many times this has happened already.
Till you get it right.
But we are finding different things that we have to start moving more cautiously. I mean, if it ain't about how much technology and knowledge that you got, it's about what you do with it. Right?
That's 100% right.
So what we're going to do next week?
I didn't read those.
Go ahead, read that.
The other point under the spirit is
Yes,
that
close it.
AI capacity. It says AI capacity possesses no
Yeah, I'm black.
immaterial or
I'm that
transcendent component. It
No one
cannot
killed my
pray.
chicken. No one killed my chicken.
worship, receive
killed my
spiritual
chicken.
salvation, or experience a relationship with the divine.
Y'all killed my chicken.
And then it says artificial intelligence. Excuse me.
So we're gonna be talking about next week,
Right.
artificial
Right.
intelligence versus humans is flawed or
My
biased.
chicken.
And what does that say?
It says both artificial
I had
intelligence and
chicken.
humans are flawed and biased. But their flaws manifest differently. While human bias stems from a cognitive shortcuts, emotions, and personal experience, AI bias is inherited from historical training data and magnified at scale. And that's
So,
the truth.
meditate on that.
Rod killed me.
we're-
Someone kick him. He killed me.
We're just gonna keep telling you the
Someone
truth.
kick him because he
And,
killed me.
you know, it's like this one show used to come on,
The
believe it or
black,
not.
the John
Ripley's
Wick
Believe It or
one.
Ripley's Believe It or Not. So, regardless of what we say over here, some people gonna believe it, some people aren't.
Right.
But that ain't gonna stop us from trying to get the truth out to you.
And sharing with you.
You know, when I learned something, I learned if you share it, the guy will give you more information. Because when we first started this series in January, that the modern black church is flawed, yet hopeful, I had no idea that we'd be talking about so many days that we have
That was
talked about.
me.
But that's the key. Humans are flawed, but yet hopeful.
Right.
There's hope for us.
Because we can pray as a spirit.
There's hope for us. Okay, y'all have a good day. We will see you next week.